Alright, welcome back everybody. This is part 19 of the Dark Souls 3 All Bosses walkthrough. We've just beaten the base game, just defeated Soul of Cinder, and we are now ready to head into the DLCs. So if you didn't watch my walkthrough, I believe it was part 5 of this walkthrough, I show how to access the first DLC, which is the Ashes of Ariandel. Gale is going to be here kneeling and saying a prayer, and you need to talk to him. He'll ask you if you want to touch this piece of a painting that he has. If you hit yes, that is what will teleport you to the beginning of that DLC. We already did that, as I explained in that video. I hate coming back to this bonfire and you have to skip through his dialogue every time. It's really not obnoxious, so we just activated the DLC much earlier in the game, so now we can just go to the Snowfield bonfire. Alright, so the Ashes of Ariandel DLC is fairly short. It's practically just one big area. There's not really any teleporting or anything like that you do. And there's also only 2 bosses in the whole thing. So I am going to split this DLC into 2 parts for these videos. One just going through one of the major areas, and the other one going through the second major area. And there will be a boss, one of the 2 bosses at the end of each video. So similar to the normal format, but yeah, this DLC is not very long. It can be kind of confusing in terms of where to go, though. There's a few different branching paths that we can go on, but we're going to go ahead and start in this Snowfield area. Coming over here to the left, these are the main enemies of this DLC, or these, I don't know, the Snowfield Hollows. I don't actually know what their name is, but you can see some of them have these throwing spears that they'll throw at you. Others have torches and spears that they'll just use within melee range. And then we also have these fly dudes. So if you've played the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, they are exactly like the man flies in that DLC. That's exactly what they're copied from. So you'll be pretty familiar with their moveset. There's a lot more of them later in the DLC. For now, that's just a little preview of a lot that we're going to be facing later on. Alright, so we are at a pretty decent level right now for the DLC itself. So these guys are going down pretty quickly. Again, you're able to access this DLC very early in the game, so if you really want to test yourself, then you can go in at that point and you'll probably be doing a lot less damage to these guys. Okay, now as we come over here, you'll see this item, and you'll notice that the ground is suspiciously just like pure snow. Not really any ground or anything, and that's because as we walk on this whole thing is going to collapse. And there's no way of getting back up directly right here. There is a way back that I'll show you here. If you're like, oh shoot, I didn't go back, and you don't want to go back to the bonfire, I'll show you how you can get back there. So you just come around to this area. Another one of the main enemies of Ashes of Ariandel are these wolves. And also, if you see these trees, you'll see that they have like hair. Some of them are just trees. They don't do anything. But some of them, like this one, are actual enemies. So kind of got to keep your eye out. Sometimes you'll see that just like the texture of the real ones is different from the actual just trees themselves. So they're somewhat easy to spot if you look close enough. You'll hear the howling going on, so like these wolves are just all over the place in this area, and if one of them summons them, they will just keep coming towards you. There is an end to them, but for a while it can feel like it's just an infinite amount of wolves that are coming to attack you. Okay, that should be it. So now we're good to come up here. Going up this pathway, I'm pretty sure all of these are actual enemies. And there you go. And from here, you're able to drop back down. So you'll see like that tree right there. That's clearly a fake one, not real. So again, just look close enough and you'll be able to notice the difference. All right, head back down since we have nothing to get from that very first area. We're going to start heading towards this direction. So right from the get-go, once you do that drop down, you have a few different options available to you in terms of pathway you're going to go. There is an item up there. Don't worry about that. We're going to be able to come back and get that. But for now, we're going to come over here. Now, if you look up on that cliff, you'll see a giant wolf. That is the Champions Greatwolf. It's actually a boss that we'll be facing at the end of this video. But you're able to encounter him throughout the early parts of this DLC. Also gives you a little preview into his moveset. You don't have to fight him, but you do get some rewards for quote-unquote killing him, even though he's still alive. Yeah, see, so you don't actually get to kill him. Once you get him down to like 50% HP, he will teleport away and you're rewarded with some large Titanite shards. Alright, now up there you'll see the, well, not the last, but another one of the enemy variants that we'll be facing in the DLC. These dudes suck. They have a ton of poise, do a lot of damage. These guys are bow and arrow variants, but we'll be seeing a few different versions of them. Especially right in this area with this lookout tower. Now be careful because there is a bow and arrow variant up there towards the top of the tower that will just shoot down towards you. Yeah, so we're going to be a little strategic with where we go and just try to not get ourselves in an area where we can get hit by the bowman or the archer, whatever the word is. So at this point he's going to see us and start shooting at us. And their arrows are interesting because after they hit, you'll see that kind of like exploding effect that it has after. So even if the arrow misses you, you're not necessarily safe. You still got to avoid the arrow actually exploding at you. Ouch. Okay, so when they have this red buff, they have way more poise than they normally do. So a lot of times they're able to just attack through any of your hits. So that's definitely when they're most dangerous, but I'm actually handling them pretty well this time. Having a two-handed weapon definitely goes a long way into making that a little bit easier. Man, come on, you stupid wolf. Just come attack me. I'm tired of your growling. Alright, so we're going to come up to the tower just to take care of this guy so we don't have to worry about him as we're picking up items throughout the rest of this little area. He's not the only one of these dudes up here. We are going to have to fight a couple. Also here a crystal lizard we'll be able to get to right there. And here he is. He is a red-eyed version, so he's going to be a little bit stronger. And then we can come up these stairs to get to the very top. Alright, you'll see that item there. You can try to jump over there. I've never actually tried. I don't know if it works, but you're able to drop down from this upper area once we go up this ladder. And, oh, I lied last video. There are more ashes that we're able to get, so that we can take those to the Shrine Handmaid. Forget that there were ashes in this DLC. Alright, so the ladder is where we came up, but now we're going to go down these stairs. Grab an item here. And now we can get this crystal lizard. There we are. There is the tower. So now we're good. We don't have to worry about the archer anymore. We can freely explore this area. There is an item at the very back of this tower. And yeah, you can't get back that way. Alright, I think there's like one or two more of the Millwood Knights that we need to be careful about. Always love to get a heavy gem, as those are definitely my favorite infusions to do, just based off of my playstyle. So, always happy to find one of those. Ouch. Woo! Whoa. And this wolf is being so annoying. There we go. Oh, another heavy gem. Nice. Alright, one item way out here on this little peninsula to grab. 6 homeward bones, which is just weird to me, considering at this point of the game you likely have the coiled sword, but, you know. What do I know? Okay, so yeah, not a ton of items in this area by any means. I believe that is actually it. So the pathway that we want to go is up here, up this hill. So instead we're going to come over here first. Alright, so this is a variation of those tree enemies. You'll see this one has like some fire on the edges of its branches. As you approach it, it's going to start shooting those out to you, well, or at least it should have. Maybe this one will do it. Oh, they're being kind of friendly to me right now. Alright, well, sometimes, I guess, they will send those little flames at you and they can be a little bit of a pain, but they're nothing too bad. Alright, coming down, and down this area are those Millwood archers that we saw from before when we fought that Greatwolf. Ouch, what in the world? Something just did a ton of damage. Jeez. Uh-oh, we left the tree alive. Right there. Oh, took a risk trying to get through that poise there. Alright, one down. Ouch. Yeah, that was a bad roll. Heck off, tree. Man, are you kidding me? Alright. Don't know how we missed this one. Okay, I believe this one is just a tree. Yeah. Alright, big item here. I can't remember what this is. Ah, Millwood Greatbow. Okay, so we're slowly, if you've been getting all these items that have been showing, you're slowly getting the entire arsenal of these Millwood Knights. So if you want to do their build, then you've got most of those items unlocked, and we'll be getting the rest of their stuff a little bit later on. Okay, so this area is now clear. At least I believe. I can't remember any other items that there are. All right, now up here is going to be encounter number 2 with the Greatwolf. He's going to call in all his wolf friends. Are some more large Titanite shards. I always found it weird that those are the rewards. I guess it's considering the fact that you can get to this area so early, so maybe like that's the reward at that time. If you want some early access to large Titanite shards, then yeah, come here. But at this point of the game, those are kind of useless to us. Okay, this is another structure that's going to collapse as soon as we walk onto it. You won't die from fall damage, so don't be concerned about that. And then we'll just try to slowly drop down these little step stools. Alright. Now, you don't have to go through that whole area that I just did. In fact, you can skip the Greatwolf entirely if you wanted to, just by coming down this area, which is just directly to the left of where that first collapsing like floor is. So if you want to go that route, by all means. If you don't want to go through all those Millwood Knights and the Greatwolf a couple of times, then definitely the easier option. But I just like to try to get as many items as we can. We're not going to sit there quite yet, because I don't want those wolves in that first area to respawn. So now we're just going to come back up here and I'll show you what this pathway looks like. And here's where I have a hard time remembering. Okay, so that one's real. It's moving. If you pick up this item, she's going to try to get you. These trees do have grab attacks, so be on the lookout for those. And these little ice attacks, unsurprisingly, spread frostbite, so try to not get too much of that status buildup. Oh, there's the grab. Alright, over here we got some more of the manflies. I'm not going to go there quite yet. I want to take care of the rest of these trees. There's a couple more wolves up here as well. Okay, now they're going to send the fire out. Yep, so these will just shoot towards you. Don't know why those other ones were so nice and didn't do that, but I won't complain. And these fire things don't do a lot of damage by any means, but man, can they just be a real nuisance. Uh-oh. Wow. She just went straight for the grab. That would give me frostbite for sure. Okay, that should be the last of the trees, I believe. Yeah, it looks like we're good. Alright, and that is it for this very first area. So again, if you want to skip all the Millwood Knights and the Greatwolf, here's where we drop down towards the very beginning of the level. You can just come straight up here. You'll have all these wolves and trees to deal with, but definitely a lot easier than all the Millwood Knights and everything. These guys, if they have a grab attack, if they're successful with that grab, they will like spread leeches on you. So again, having a torch is the solution to getting those things off of you. So if you don't have a torch yet, definitely worth getting one. All right. Also, another thing with this bonfire, there's actually a hole that you can drop down if you want to. I mean, go for it. You take some fall damage, but there's a bonfire, so who cares? All right. Moving on now, you'll see that there's a bridge here in front of us leading up to that cathedral. That's where we're going to go. Now, one of the other reasons I wanted to do the Lord of Hollows ending is Frida, who is an NPC we're going to meet up here. She actually recognizes us as being the Lord of Hollows, and the reason why is because she is actually an Ashen One herself. So just like us, she, you know, is an Ashen One, and instead of pursuing the journey to link the fire, she instead decided to come to the painting of Ariandel. And I don't know, like, I'm not super familiar with the lore all that much of, you know, this DLC specifically, but she's essentially just trying to keep this place alive, even though it is rotting and decaying and all that kind of stuff. So similar to what we're doing as the Ashen One in the normal game, you know, if you know, we need to let this world just like pass on and stop linking the fire, to be completely honest, because the world is just decaying and it's a terrible state. So it's funny how Frida comes here and is basically doing the same thing. So our job is going to be to essentially like cleanse this painting so that it's not rotting away anymore. Right here is one of my favorite NPCs in terms of voice acting. I just love this dude's voice.
Well, well. You're Lady Uria's Lord of Hollows. No bell tolls.
I love it. It's so cool. So again, that's he says we're one of Lady Uria's Lord of Hollows. You wouldn't get that dialogue if you weren't doing that ending. So kind of cool how the dialogue changes if you have done that ending. All right, but entering into here, we can now talk to Frida. There's also a bonfire in here because it's a very important area.
Welcome to the paint. I am Frida, but forlorn thou seemest Lord of Hollows.
See, there we go, Lord of Hollows.
The missteps which let thy duty return, I presume it visible.
So she's basically saying, go back to where you came from. Don't bother with this place. But she also gives us this Chillbite ring.
Now, thou'st to play.
We are, of course, not going to return to where we came from. We're going to ignore her advice, because that's what we do. If we talk to him again, he's like, hey, Frida told you, get out of here, leave. But like I said, of course, we are not going to leave. Okay, so here you have a couple different options. So the main area that you want to go to progress through the rest of the DLC, like to get to the end of it anyway, is go down that ladder over there at the beginning of the bridge, and then you'll just go down there, and that takes you to the Corvian settlement. We're going to be doing that next episode. For now, we're actually going to, if you notice, this bridge is kind of rickety and everything. If you remember from the catacombs of Karthus, that rope can be destroyed and then used as a ladder. This is the same concept. So there you go. Bridge broken, and now we can descend down here and get to the depths of the painting. Alright, so our main pathway here is going to be going along these tree roots that are sprouting out of the walls here. And there's going to be some millwood archers that are going to be shooting at us, plus some hollows that we'll want to kill on our way. So be advised, those archers can suck, and especially since their arrows have that kind of like knockback mechanic to it. Even if you miss them, even if they miss you, you're not necessarily safe. So I hear one shooting at me. And right up here is just another way that you can drop down if you want to. As long as you keep moving, you should be safe from these millwood archers. Alright, and then that crystal lizard just decided to run off the edge, so made our lives easier as it died from fall damage and gave us the reward. Alrighty. We're getting close to one of the archers. He is... Where is he? Where can I find him? Oh, because he's up there. Okay. And I honestly can't remember how we're able to get up there. Uh-oh, and we're dead. Sick. Oh, boy. Oh, we're right by the bonfire. That area can definitely be a little precarious to try to jump down. But we'll go ahead and head back down that area. Okay, that's how you get down to where this archer is. Okay, I just had to remember. Ouch. Ouch, dude. So that little Earth Shaker attack, that's a returning thing from the DLC of Dark Souls 1. The Stone Guardians, or whatever they're called, have that ability with their hammers, so kind of cool to see that come back. Come back up here, and if you wanted to get back up to the chapel, then this is what allows you to do that. Alright, so that takes care of one of the Millwood Knights. Try to get our souls back. Ouch. Right, we're not going to do that again. We're going to come around the safe way. Jump down here. Oh, dang, I didn't want to drop down. That's alright. If I remember that item, I can't remember what that is. But if you want to go get it, you just drop down to where I died and failed on that. And that's really all that's left up there aside from that hollow. Alright, now we've made it down to this bottom bonfire. Not going to rest here because that's going to respawn that archer right here, and he's just obnoxious to try to deal with. Now, on this frozen lake, you can see that there is an ice crab over there. Another one's going to pop up from the ground over where I'm facing, so don't be fooled by this guy. He's not the only one here. And there he is, yep. So, luckily, if we just kind of chill here, we can just try to take one of them out at a time. There's the stagger. Ouch. Alright, one down. Ooh. Whatever, I rolled that. Oh, jeez. Nope. Oh, what? How is that not a stagger? There it is. Alright, there you go. Both crabs down. You are rewarded with a crystal gem by doing so. Alright, coming up here, you'll see that item right there. And one of these trees. Take her out. This one's a little bit beefier. Got some homeward bones. Now if we come over here, another tree at this spot. You'll hear some crying in the distance. That is coming from another tree. This one specifically. She goes kind of nuts. We're going to kill her. And we have snap freeze. So, interesting thing. I don't really care about like going into the lore all that much. But if we check out the lore of this one, it tells you that Solivon was originally a sorcerer. So Pontiff Solivon, the boss from Irithyll, was a sorcerer before leaving the painted world. He was born and raised inside the painting, yet had little use for the frigid homeland, since he had not yet experienced loss. So the theory is that that tree is crying because it was like she was like his mother or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, Pontiff originally came from the painting of Ariandel. Pretty crazy that one of the most vile and evil characters in the game came from here. So kind of cool. Alright, one last tree. Now another thing that happens when we kill that tree is if you come back around here where those homeward bones were, you'll suddenly see there's a ladder. And this is easily one of the biggest ladders, probably the biggest ladder in the entire game, and it takes you all the way back up to the beginning of the bridge. Now the reason we're going up it is because there is a titanite slab that we're able to get by going all the way to the top of this ladder that can't be accessed just from up where that bonfire is. Kind of cool, gives you a whole overview of the depths of the painting, but it is a little bit of a slog to actually climb up. Alright, one more shorter ladder to go up. And here we are, Titanite slab. A couple of man flies, or whatever you want to call them. Or maybe just one. Yeah, two. Okay. Alright, then if we come over here, so this is the branching pathway that I talked about. If we go down this way, we are taken to the Corvian settlement. Here's the ladder that you're able to drop down from that bonfire. And here you are. Okay, so now we're going to go back down to the depths of the painting bonfire. And we're going to take on our first boss of the DLC. Alright, so this boss that we're going to be taking on is the Champions Gravetender and, of course, the Champions Greatwolf that I mentioned earlier, the one that we've encountered a couple times. He's actually not going to join in the fight until the second phase, though. So, just drop down into this little flowery area. And down here underneath this Coliseum area is going to be the boss. Now, this is an NPC, and he has a bunch of wolves around him as well, so we're kind of just going to try to aggro him and let his wolves just come out to us, so we can try to kill them without him being in the fight yet. Go. Now with the greatsword, this guy is kind of a pushover, but again, when the Great Wolf joins the fight, everything can change. I'm going to try to take him out before. There we go. Cool. So now it's just a nice one-on-one fight. Ouch, that was a lot of damage. The wolf himself, more or less has two phases in terms of like his moveset. So when you get him down to about 50% health, he'll do this thing right here. And he's gonna activate this ice breath. And this triple charge that he does, he'll now end it with that same ice breath. And there we are. So, not a difficult boss by any means. The music is fantastic. And these are Rewards of Valor Heart. That's the weapon that the NPC guy was using. And the Champion's Bones, you can use those to now do PvP arena fights if you're interested in doing that. So, you just use that at the Firelink bonfire, and yeah, you have access to doing PvP arena stuff. Nothing else to grab in here. There is a bonfire that pops up. Let's go ahead and activate that. Yeah, so that is it for part 1 of Ashes of Ariandel. So, next episode we'll be going through the Corvian settlement and then to the final boss of the DLC. It's definitely the chunkiest part of the DLC itself, so looking forward to doing that. But Appreciate you stopping by if you happen to be watching this video. As always, like and subscribe goes a long way, and we will see you in the next episode.